Good evening. Tonight, a developing story inside royal circles is stirring renewed conversation about legacy, loyalty, and the future direction of the monarchy. The news landed like a ripple across the marble halls of the monarchy. Prince James, the youngest of the royal siblings, had reportedly inherited the late Queen's private Thornfield estate, a secluded jewel tucked away in the rolling countryside, far from the public eye yet heavy with centuries of lineage. It was not a balcony announcement, nor a ceremonious proclamation in the press, the sort of grand spectacle the world had come to expect. Instead, it arrived quietly, whispered through palace channels, like a carefully folded note passed between gilded fingers. Yet, even in silence, the transfer reverberated through the corridors of power. Camilla's family, sources suggest, was far from pleased, not because the estate lacked charm. Its gardens, the sweeping oak-lined avenues, and its centuries-old stone manor were unrivaled, but because of the subtle implications, a shift in influence, a private pocket of power, and an inheritance that spoke volumes without uttering a word. Thornfield Estate was never just property. It was a symbol. Generations of royals had walked its halls, leaving behind echoes of decisions, private councils, and quiet family moments. The late Queen had spent countless summers here, retreating from the relentless glare of public duty to the sanctuary of her private chambers. For Prince James, inheriting Thornfield was more than acquiring land. It was a tangible connection to his grandmother's private world, a space where he could imagine the monarchy beyond the ceremonies, the limelight, and the protocols. The estate's sprawling grounds, gardens meticulously curated, forests that had witnessed clandestine meetings, and lakes that mirrored the sky in serene perfection, offered not just inheritance, but identity. The estate's transfer, however discreet, did not escape scrutiny. Sources close to the palace alleged tension, a subtle strain that only those attuned to royal rhythms could detect. Camilla's relatives reportedly raised eyebrows at the quiet handover. Some senior courtiers speculated that this move might reflect the late Queen's continued influence even in absence, a silent shaping of the monarchy's internal power balance. Insiders whisper that discussions had long centered on the equitable distribution of private holdings among family members, yet Thornfield's allocation to James carried a peculiar symbolism. The tension was not dramatic in the cinematic sense, no shouting matches or public disputes, but it simmered, noticeable in the measured tones of private briefings and the brief pauses during family gatherings. Unlike his older siblings, Prince James had always cultivated a reputation for discretion. Known for thoughtful observation rather than flamboyant gestures, he had often been described as a prince of reflection. Friends and staff noted his love for landscapes, quiet reading, and measured decisions, all qualities that made him uniquely suited to stewardship of a private estate like Thornfield. The inheritance, therefore, was almost poetic. While others might wield visibility or ceremonial influence, James would command legacy in subtle ways, overseeing lands, curating family history, and maintaining the private sanctity the late Queen had so carefully preserved. Thornfield Estate was not merely a family home, it was a tapestry of stories. Generations of royal children had learned horseback riding in its stables. Diplomatic confidences had been shared in its drawing rooms. Its library, dense with leather-bound volumes, contained letters, diaries, and secret correspondences spanning centuries. To inherit Thornfield was to inherit both tangible property and intangible legacy, the intimate memory of a monarch, the silent counsel passed between family members, and a grounding sense of the monarchy's human dimension. Sources suggest that Camilla's family viewed the transfer with a mixture of surprise and unease. While there was no public protest, the whispers were unmistakable. "Why James?" a source allegedly murmured. The late Queen could have chosen otherwise, perhaps splitting it among the senior heirs. These murmurs, though private, reflect the broader question. In the modern monarchy, how much weight does symbolic inheritance carry? The public rarely sees the negotiation of sentiment, influence, and legacy that takes place behind palace doors, yet it shapes relationships profoundly. Inheritance within the royal family is rarely only legal, it is political. Thornfield, while private, holds symbolic resonance. Its stewardship grants James autonomy, a rare slice of independence in a life otherwise governed by protocol. For those watching palace dynamics, such autonomy subtly alters perceived influence. Older siblings, accustomed to more public-facing roles, may view this as a quiet elevation of James within the family hierarchy. Courtiers and advisors might recalibrate how they approach him, recognizing his access to legacy assets and private counsel. The estate, therefore, is both a home and a soft power tool, a private lever of influence in a family perpetually balancing duty, visibility, and discretion. Imagine Thornfield on a quiet afternoon. The sun streaming through tall sash windows, catching the gilded frames of ancestral portraits. The gardens buzzing with bees, roses at their zenith, and stone pathways that wind toward hidden alcoves. Prince James walking through the library, brushing fingers across tomes once handled by the late Queen herself. Here, he could exercise stewardship, host intimate family gatherings, or simply walk the land in reflection, all while honoring the memory of the monarch who had valued Thornfield above its public significance. While palace insiders understand the subtlety of such transfers, the public narrative often distorts simplicity into drama. Headlines may hint at tension, whisper of rivalry, and speculate endlessly. Yet the true inheritance is about continuity, care, and discretion, values that remain largely invisible outside royal circles. The contrast between perception and reality is striking. Public eyes see whispers of discontent. Private eyes see measured handovers, guided by tradition and the personal preferences of the late Queen. It is in these unseen details that royal legacy often thrives. As news of the transfer circulated, social media erupted with commentary. Some hailed James as the quiet heir gaining deserved recognition. Others speculated about internal family friction, amplifying palace whispers into dramatic headlines. Royal commentators debated what this could mean for Camilla's family influence, even though all official statements emphasized privacy and continuity. The story demonstrates the power of suggestion. Without public confirmation of discord, speculation becomes reality for audiences worldwide. For Prince James, Thornfield is more than bricks and gardens. It embodies responsibility, maintaining a historical property with deep family significance. Connection, preserving memories of a beloved monarch. Autonomy, managing a private estate while older siblings navigate public duties. Such inheritances serve a dual purpose, tangible and symbolic. They grant authority, yet also encourage reflection, stewardship, and continuity. Beyond politics and prestige, the inheritance represents a deeply human moment, a monarch entrusting her youngest grandchild with a piece of her world, a family balancing affection, expectation, and private legacy. Courtiers and staff quietly adjusting to new custodianship, maintaining routines, and protecting both property and dignity. Thornfield, like much of royal life, exists in layers: historical, emotional, and functional. Understanding it requires patience, perspective, and sensitivity, qualities Prince James is said to embody in abundance. Thornfield's gardens and hidden corners. Thornfield Estate is famed for more than its stately manor. Its gardens, sprawling over dozens of acres, are a masterclass in both natural beauty and careful design. Ancient oaks form shaded avenues, winding paths lead to secret alcoves, and rose bushes, planted decades ago by the late Queen herself, bloom in riotous colors every spring. For Prince James, these gardens offer more than aesthetics. They provide a sanctuary for reflection. Royal sources suggest he has a keen interest in horticulture, often spending mornings walking among the blooms, noting which flowers thrive, and quietly overseeing maintenance plans. Such interactions are intimate and deeply personal, a continuation of the Queen's vision for Thornfield as a living, breathing home rather than a static monument. Hidden nooks, from stone-walled courtyards to ivy-draped gazebos, offer James opportunities for privacy and contemplation. It's easy to imagine him sitting with a notebook in hand, sketching plans for garden restoration, or simply reading in the dappled sunlight, activities that are both leisurely and subtly instructive, teaching stewardship and patience. While the public may perceive royal life as seamless, insiders reveal subtle undercurrents. Camilla's family, sources claim, had privately hoped for a different distribution of property. While there has been no formal dispute, whispers of dissatisfaction circulate within palace circles. Some see the move as an assertion of the late Queen's enduring influence. Others interpret it as a strategic positioning of James, granting him independence and authority in a quieter, less public sphere. Courtiers speculate that older siblings may feel a mix of pride and envy, recognizing both the honor and autonomy that comes with Thornfield. Despite the absence of overt conflict, the inheritance illustrates how private estates can serve as instruments of influence, subtly shaping family dynamics. Inside Thornfield, every room tells a story. The library, lined with leather-bound volumes, houses decades of royal correspondence, personal diaries, and historic records. The drawing rooms, adorned with portraits of past monarchs, echo the quiet dignity of generations. Bedrooms retain the personal touches of the late Queen, from delicate floral fabrics to cherished heirlooms. Prince James reportedly approaches these interiors with reverence. Observers note that he often spends hours studying the library archives, examining letters written by his grandmother, and gaining insight into her private thoughts and decisions. This connection, intimate and deeply personal, is a form of inheritance beyond bricks and mortar. It's the passing of history, wisdom, and memory. Managing Thornfield requires careful navigation of both public curiosity and private responsibility. Though not open to the public like some royal estates, Thornfield remains a symbol, and any news of James's inheritance draws attention. Courtiers emphasize discretion, managing media interest while protecting family privacy. James is said to approach his new role with humility, recognizing the balance between guardianship of the estate and the monarchy's public image. The estate serves as a private retreat for reflection, away from the scrutiny of tabloids and photographers. This duality, private stewardship in a public context, underscores the delicate equilibrium modern royals must maintain. Unlike other heirs who may focus on ceremonial duties or public engagements, Prince James is reported to have a hands-on approach. Sources close to the estate note his involvement in land management decisions, garden planning and preservation, oversight of staff and maintenance operations. His quiet demeanor, coupled with genuine interest in the property's legacy, positions him as both caretaker and scholar. Thornfield becomes not only a home, but a laboratory for learning the subtleties of responsibility and continuity. In royal circles, property often carries symbolic weight. By inheriting Thornfield, James gains a private domain to exercise autonomy, a tangible connection to the late Queen's personal life and legacy, a subtle platform of influence within family dynamics. This transfer highlights how estates are more than assets. They are instruments of familial strategy, quietly shaping relationships and signaling trust. Though public statements have been limited, insiders suggest that reactions within the family are measured. Older siblings reportedly expressed congratulations, recognizing James's temperament and suitability for the role. Courtiers note that discussions around Thornfield have focused on continuity and respect for the late Queen's wishes. Camilla's relatives, while initially surprised, have not taken public action, underscoring the importance of discretion in royal operations. The inheritance demonstrates the monarchy's ability to balance individual preference with institutional tradition, a hallmark of stability amid potential tension. Thornfield serves as a bridge between past and future. For James, it represents a tangible link to the late Queen, while simultaneously allowing him to carve his own path. The estate embodies continuity, maintaining the traditions and aesthetics established over decades. At the same time, James's approach reflects modern values, hands-on involvement, personal engagement, and respect for both history and practicality. The result is a living legacy, one that nurtures responsibility, fosters independence, and honors the memory of a beloved monarch. Despite being a private inheritance, Thornfield has captured public imagination. Social media channels buzz with speculation. Will James open Thornfield to the public? Does this shift palace dynamics? Is Camilla's family displeased? While much of this remains conjecture, it highlights the monarchy's continued ability to inspire fascination, even in matters deliberately kept out of the limelight. Prince James's personal connection to Thornfield. For Prince James, Thornfield is more than just an inheritance. It is a deeply personal link to family history. Sources close to the royal household suggest he spent long hours in conversation with the late Queen in her final years, discussing the estate's significance, its gardens, and the role it played in fostering family unity. These intimate discussions reportedly shaped his understanding of stewardship, teaching him to value patience, attention to detail, and the quiet power of observation. James's reflective nature makes him particularly suited to the task. Unlike his older siblings who balance public duties, engagements, and charitable responsibilities, James has often gravitated toward private study, historical research, and the nuanced art of diplomacy within family dynamics. Thornfield, in many ways, offers him a canvas to apply these skills while honoring the wishes of the late Queen. The estate is not merely a static inheritance, it is a dynamic space designed to cultivate connection. For decades, royal family gatherings have been held in its halls and gardens, blending tradition with informality. Summer afternoons see the children of the royal family exploring the expansive grounds, their laughter echoing across the lawns. Quiet evenings are reserved for private dinners, where the late Queen would often recount family stories, instilling a sense of continuity and shared identity. Strategic walks along wooded paths allowed for discreet counsel, enabling family members to discuss pressing matters away from public scrutiny. Prince James, inheriting this environment, now assumes the role of guardian, balancing the estate's legacy with the evolving needs of the family. Inheritance of a private estate carries subtle power. While not overtly political, Thornfield provides James with a sphere of influence distinct from public engagements. By maintaining the estate and interacting with family members in this private setting, he exerts guidance and shapes discussions without the trappings of ceremonial authority. Palace insiders note that this quiet influence is highly valued. It allows for mediation, observation, and counsel in matters that require discretion. For a monarchy constantly under public scrutiny, such private channels are crucial in preserving both tradition and family cohesion. Despite the serene veneer of Thornfield, whispers of palace tension remain. Camilla's family, while outwardly composed, is reportedly sensitive to perceived shifts in influence. Assigning the estate to James, rather than one of the older siblings, has subtly altered internal dynamics. Courtiers suggest older family members are weighing the symbolic implications, noting that private estates can serve as quiet platforms for decision-making and influence. Camilla's relatives have expressed privately surprise that the estate bypassed other potential heirs. Observers point out that James's temperament, contemplative, diplomatic, and low profile, may make him an ideal custodian, but the optics of inheritance inevitably invite scrutiny. Thornfield is as much about the past as it is the present. Its architecture, artifacts, and archives chronicle generations of royal life. The library contains letters penned by monarchs, personal diaries, and documents detailing decisions made behind palace walls. Portraits and heirlooms evoke memory and continuity. Prince James's stewardship involves more than maintenance. it encompasses preservation. By overseeing the estate's historical treasures, he ensures that future generations will not only inherit property, but inherit a living story of monarchy, memory, and familial responsibility. James's role at Thornfield is emblematic of the modern royal approach, combining respect for tradition with practical management. Gardens are meticulously planned, but with consideration for sustainability. Staff are managed professionally, ensuring that the estate functions efficiently while preserving privacy. Security measures balance safety with discretion, protecting both property and family from intrusive public interest. This blend of historical reverence and modern administration positions Thornfield as a model of how private royal estates can function in the 21st century. Even as James embraces his role, public fascination is inevitable. Social media commentary and royal reporting often speculate about the implications of inheritance, family influence, and internal politics. Headlines suggest tension, envy, or strategic maneuvering, though official sources emphasize continuity and privacy. Royal watchers debate whether this inheritance signals a broader shift in family hierarchy or simply reflects the late Queen's personal wishes. The public, fascinated by royal rituals and symbols, interprets every decision as both personal and political. Through it all, James' quiet, reflective approach demonstrates that influence does not require spectacle. Stewardship and discretion often carry more enduring weight. Thornfield's transfer illustrates several key themes for the monarchy. 1. Continuity of legacy. Private estates preserve history, memory, and family cohesion. 2. Subtle influence. Ownership of a private estate allows a member of the family to exert quiet authority. 3. Modern stewardship. Balancing tradition with efficient, sustainable management reflects a contemporary approach to monarchy. 4. Family dynamics. Even private decisions ripple through relationships, affecting perceptions, loyalty, and internal negotiation. Prince James, in assuming stewardship, embodies these principles, maintaining tradition while quietly shaping the monarchy's future through action, not spectacle. Ultimately, Thornfield represents more than inheritance. It symbolizes trust, responsibility, and continuity. For Prince James, it is a reminder that monarchy extends beyond public appearances, ceremonial duties, and media attention. The estate stands as a testament to the late Queen's vision, a place where history, memory, and family intersect, creating a private sphere of influence and connection. By embracing this role, James honors that vision while crafting his own legacy within the monarchy. In a world where royal headlines often prioritize drama over nuance, the quiet inheritance of Thornfield offers a different narrative, one of reflection, stewardship, and subtle power. Prince James gains more than land. He inherits history, responsibility, and a tangible connection to a beloved monarch. Family dynamics, while complex, are navigated with discretion, diplomacy, and respect. The estate's management reflects the balance between tradition and modernity, a hallmark of the contemporary monarchy. As whispers of tension circulate, the true story remains one of continuity, care, and private legacy. Thornfield Estate, in the hands of Prince James, is poised to continue as both a sanctuary and a symbol, a space where royal history and future leadership quietly converge.